Hi. I know that you're new. You probably just joined Mary Kay. And I mean, it's an exciting time, but also a lot of times people, this is when they kind of sit there and go, wait a second, what did I get myself involved in? And that's understandable. It's totally normal. So don't be like, oh my gosh, this is probably not for me. Give yourself time. And that's what's awesome. Right now, I want you kind of think like, okay, you just bought your own business. It's almost like I used to own restaurants. So I always think of it as almost like you bought the outside of a restaurant. Like you bought the walls and the building and everything. And now you have to decide what food you're going to have and how you're going to serve it and all that kind of stuff. So now the decision is, how do I get started? And so we're going to talk about inventory. And like I said, kind of think like, this is my business. I own it. And now it's how I'm going to start. There is no absolute right answer. Let me just tell you that right away. Okay. It is a personal decision on each person's part. I can give you like different options, and I'll tell you kind of like from my heart. I've been doing this almost 30 years. 30 years. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. And I've seen all different ranges, but I also know some statistics. And so I'll try to help you with that too. Alrighty. Inventory is definitely not mandatory. So I have seen people be successful that started with absolutely no inventory all the way up to full inventory. So there's like kind of that range in between too. So it's kind of one of those things you kind of have to look at where your kind of your financial situation is at, and kind of where your commitment. I just see my necklace and it's all screwed up, but it's okay. Alrighty. First of all, so let's go over some benefits of why it's, if you can start with inventory, I would. And let me just tell you why. And like I said, kind of from my heart, one of the things is that cosmetics is one of those products that is an emotional buy. It makes people feel good right away. And so if they're buying something to make them feel good right away and then have to wait a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks, sometimes you kind of lose things. What happens too is they may order from you once, but then they had to wait, like a week to get it. So they're not going to order from you twice. Also, if you have it on hand, it just makes it easier. People will buy more. And I will tell you, I've kept a really good customer base. I have a lot of reorders today. I'm trying to think. I took one reorder for 114. I shipped one order. Sorry, I have a cat coming up on the table. 114 was one I delivered. I also shipped an order of 95. And then a lady came to my studio where I keep my product, and she ended up picking up about 80. So that was just, and that's kind of typical. But the reason why I have such strong customers and the reason why I sell so much is because I have the product. I pick up a lot of customers because of that as well. Because one of the first questions somebody will say to me is, do you keep the product on hand? Because they don't want to mess with somebody that doesn't. And not to be mean, it just is one of those things that becomes very important. So that's one of the benefits. Also, it's an impulse buy. So sometimes if they know that they're going to get it that day, they'll buy more. And so that helps you too. So you miss out on sales. A lot of times what happens is if they think, oh, I got to wait. Oh, Diane, I don't want you to have to worry about it. Just don't worry about it. And they will take it away. Like they'll take the sale away. And that is because they think that they're bothering you if you have to place an order. So it's just real weird. It's just a mindset. It's a time saver. I will tell you where I started, and this was almost 30 years ago. I started with a $3,000 inventory. I was over 80,000 in debt. So it wasn't like I had good credit. I had bad credit. I was deep in debt. I also was working about 70 hours a week, sometimes 80 hours a week in my restaurants, and I had 2 small children. So a lot of people would have said, well, why would you do that then? And the reason why is I had no time. And so I knew, first I just did one party a week, and I still did a 3,000. And like I said, I had back in the day, you could get these high interest rate loans, even if you had bad credit. And so that's what I took. It had a 29% interest back in the 80s. Yeah, 1990 is when I joined in 89, and it was right at the end of the year. And then I placed my order in January. But that was how committed I was to the buyback guarantee. And let me explain that. One thing you don't have to fear is any product you put on your shelf for one solid year, Mary Kay backs you. And what that means is they back you 90% of the way. I owned restaurants. When we sold our restaurants, because they weren't doing well, we had run them for about 15 years. But when we were selling our restaurants at the end and everything, and we actually sold them and still owed over 300,000. We just paid off that loan probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So I will tell you, most businesses, in fact, I don't know of any other business. I don't know of any other direct selling company that has this kind of buyback guarantee. Basically, Mary Kay gives you a safety net and says, I'm going to back you 90% of the way, so you don't even have to worry. And so there's a lot of awesome things about that. So that's what I looked at is I can start this business. I can have 3,000. And back then I only got $200 in free product. And so I'll go over that too. It's totally different now. I mean, totally different. But I started with the 3,000 so that way, when I went to parties and facials, I knew I didn't have a lot of time. And so I wanted to be able to deliver the product when I saw people. And that was why I did that. So it is a time saver. It does make you look more professional. Of course, when you say, oh, I've got the product with me, people a lot of times will go, really? You have what I just ordered? Oh my gosh, you're kidding. And a lot of times they'll say, you know, the last Mary Kay lady I was with, they didn't have the product and I had to wait. And it ended up, I waited like 2 weeks and blah, blah, blah. You know, they'll tell you all the horror stories. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have product on hand, because it made me feel more professional. Statistically, if you're one of those people like me that I like statistics, truth, if people that start as a star level, and I'll go over that, have a 50% higher chance of success with Mary Kay. Is that something that's important? It was important to me. I mean, I kind of looked at that and I thought, oh, that makes sense. And like I said, you can start however you want, but you just want to look at all those things. Okay. Let me see. I often think about this, like, what if we had started the restaurants? We started the restaurants and we had to buy inventory on all our food and all of our things to make the food and all the different stuff. Now, what if we only said, hey, we're going to show you pictures. You come see and tell us what you're going to want to order in the next few weeks, and we'll kind of get that all together for you. I mean, people would have laughed in our face. Or if you went to the mall and a store kind of had a brochure and said, hey, you know, we just want to check out what people like before we put any inventory in here, you would not go in. You'd think, what the heck? And so that's where it does make sense. I mean, think about like a lawn care service. Okay. Let's say you were going to start a lawn care service. One of the smaller businesses that you can start usually for about 40 to 50,000. Okay. That's a small business, a small, like one man operation. Because I will tell you now, most restaurants, do you know that like a McDonald's, just to buy the rights is 1 million. Like Handel's ice cream, if you're from the Youngstown area, it's 1 million to get the franchise, one franchise. And that doesn't include a lot of the inventory and everything. It just shows you, I mean, for us to be able to start a business, and sometimes people will hear the different inventories and they get real panicky, but in the scope of things, it is almost like unheard of. But anyways, okay, let's say some guy was going to start a lawn care business and he went to all his neighbors and said, hey, I'm going to buy equipment and I'm going to buy different things, but I want to get your business first. So why don't you pay me to have like this lawn care service? Like I'm going to start doing every week. I'll cut your lawn as soon as I get my equipment, but go ahead and sign up. And I'm just trying to see how many people are interested. What would you think of him? Wouldn't you think like, really? This is how he's going to start? Of course not. He would start, he'd go get his mowers, he'd get all the things. And would he have the bank saying, hey, I'm going to pay you 90% back if this doesn't work out for you, dude? No, it's just unheard of to have this 90% buyback. And really, you get to keep the free product bonuses. And so I will just tell you right off the bat, I mean, that's where it is amazing. You really, basically have like 100% because of all the freebies they give you up front. So that's what's so cool. Mary Kay used to always say, you can't sell out of an empty wagon. And boy, was she so right. But that's what's so cool. Alrighty. It was funny. And I wrote, I'm sorry, I'm looking at notes and everything, but I went to Walmart. We had a real big snowstorm here. And I went to Walmart the other night after the snow had come. Went in, and Walmart, always has tons of products. There was hardly nothing on the shelves. And this one guy he's like a little bit away from me. He goes, there's no bread. Don't even go to the bread department. There's no bread. And I'm like laughing because he's like, this is ridiculous. I'm really mad that I'm here, because we had kind of risked our lives to get there. And it was so funny because, you never think of Walmart being out of everything, but it kind of gave me the feeling of what it must be like if you have no product. So it just makes it difficult. Okay. So, one thing that you can do, you're probably either you're waiting on your kit or you have your kit. If you have your kit, go ahead and grab this brochure. It's a Ready, Set, Sell brochure. Okay. It shows you the free product bonuses that are available to you. It also has this, and it's kind of like a little quiz. And you'll want to take this, because this will help you too to kind of get a guideline for where you're at and what's smart for you. Definitely, you don't want to make any decision before you've talked to me or if I'm not your director, because definitely you just want to talk to somebody that's kind of walked in your shoes. I'm always surprised when people will make a decision but not talk with myself or somebody else that's their director, because truthfully, we sat where you're sitting. And so we can kind of help you kind of figure out what's best for you. And almost like you can kind of get a path to run on. Okay. So you'll want to either, like I said, if you're waiting on your showcase, you can go to Mary Kay In Touch under business tools, under your kit, like you'll see starter kit. Under starter kit will be the Ready, Set, Sell brochure, and you can print one out. I would do that. If I didn't have my kit, I'd go ahead and get started, because there's a first thing that's really awesome that Mary Kay does. And it's just this right here. And what it does is it gives you a look. It gives you a compact, a look, and everything. $129 worth of product just for making the decision within the first 15 days. If you start with the smaller inventory and up, you'll get that as an extra bonus. And I always say, if I can get something extra, I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that, because it's just a smart thing. I mean, I always look for every way I can get something free. So that's what's cool. So that's what I would do, is get your Ready, Set, Sell. Okay. And then why does Mary Kay give us all these free bonuses? Because there is a lot of free bonuses available to you as a new consultant. Why they do is because they know that you're going to be more successful on the statistic wise if you do start with inventory. It's just an easier way to go. And I'll go over some ways to get product, things that you can do and everything. But I just wanted to kind of give you all that different stuff. Okay, first of all, in the brochure, they are going to show you pictures of different inventories. Like this is a 3600. We actually have a 4800, unless you're coming in and you're looking to go into management, like first month. I would not tell you to do the 4800 unless you are, I'm going to go full time into Mary Kay. I have the credit. I'm going to go ahead and do that. That would be my only call for that. They usually will generally say 3600. Now, a lot of people look at the picture and go, oh, I don't want this and I don't want that. Don't worry. As your director or somebody else that's your director, we'll go over some questions and we'll figure out what's going to be best on your shelf, depending on who are the people you're going to start with, who are your family, who are your friends, who did you go to school with, that kind of thing. And we'll kind of figure out what's best. And if there's specific things that you absolutely love, let's say you love satin hands and you love the no fragrance one. Well, then you may want to have extra ones on hand. And so you just let everybody know, and then we'll know to put more of those on hand for you. So we usually do your first order for you just because we do kind of know what you're going to sell more of and what's going to go faster off your shelf. So that's kind of smart. but they put the picture in there just to give you an idea. Because I remember hearing 3,000, and I thought a truck was going to come like a semi, and they were going to dump all this stuff on my front lawn, and I needed like 2 extra rooms, and all the 3,000 took up like a little tiny bookshelf. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, you know, because think about it, cosmetics are smaller, and so it's just kind of cool. But that's what's neat, is they'll know like what to put in that inventory. Now, there's bonuses at a 3,600. Let's just go over that real quick. At 3,600, the maximum bonus, now this freaks me out, is 1,158. I mean, honest to God, that is incredible. You're making so much more than 50%. That's what's awesome about these bonuses. So you got to look at that. There's bonuses at 3,000, at 2,400, and 1,800. Now, let me just tell you, those are all star levels, and you'll understand that more. We can kind of go over that, but that means Mary Kay used to say, if you can start as a star, you think like a star, you feel like a star, you're going to get a prize right away from the company. There's all kinds of prizes involved with that, and that's what's awesome. But what we usually will generally tell you is to make a list. Let's say you're getting married. I'm definitely not getting married this weekend. But let's say you were going to get married this weekend. Okay, just kind of play around with me. If you were going to get married this weekend, write down how many people would you probably invite. And then we can kind of figure from there how much you probably need inventory-wise, as well as that test at the beginning. So that those will give us some rules of thumb. But usually it's about like a $3,000 order will service about 30 people. 3,600 will service about 36 people. So it kind of gives you an idea on amounts. But I will tell you, if I could start as a star and the lowest star is 1,800, I would. One thing I love about starting as a star consultant, in my area, we do debuts, business debuts. So we do them different ways. Sometimes we do it where it's just a skincare party, which is awesome. Or sometimes it's a business debut. We do different things, but what that guarantees you is it guarantees you kind of a kickoff. And what's nice about that is it's a great way to start, and it's awesome. Even if you live far away, we still will do that for you. So that's just kind of a neat thing. It helps you kind of kick off your business. The reason why we picked the star level and above, if it's not a star level and above, you don't have enough product actually to hold a business debut. My highest business debut was 2,800 in sales. My average is usually right around 800 to 1,000. So if you don't have enough product on your shelf, obviously you can't hold it. So that's why we started 1,800 with the business debut. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind. But an 1,800 is a nice place to start also, because it's kind of like half a store. If 3,600 is a full store, 1,800 is half of that. So you still will have to fill in with your inventory, obviously, like as you build. But it's a nice place to start. 2,400 is a great place, and 3,000 is a great place. So kind of look and see, like with that wedding list and with the little test, where's best to start. Okay, there's a $1,200 one. It's right under a star. It's still going to be good. It's kind of like friends and family kind of thing. Like you'll probably be able to service maybe some of your girlfriends and some of your family and you. Okay, there's a 600. You still get a bonus of free product at the 600. What that does is that gives you enough for you and maybe one other friend or mom or sister, because it really will come in one box. And so it's not enough to kind of like take care of a lot of parties. So it's kind of like, how do I want to get started? 3,600, you might be wanting to look at holding between 4 and 5 parties a week. 1,800 is maybe probably like 1 to 2 parties a week. So that kind of helps you too, like kind of figure out those kind of things. So those are kind of important things to look at. If you start as a star, there is a star kind of bonus too. Not only do you get a prize from the company, you get a little ladder with whatever star you started with. So it's just kind of cool. But what also is there's a referral program from the company as well. When somebody goes on Mary Kay looking for a consultant, what they do is they take all the star consultants in that area, and there's a drawing, and one star consultant is pulled out. The reason why they do that is they know that person has product. They won't refer somebody to a person if they don't know if they have product or not. So that's one of the things that helps you as well. So you're in that rotation. So it's a smart thing to do. So those are all things that you want to think about when making a decision. What's my best way? Now, a lot of times people think, well, I don't even know. Like, I don't have that kind of money sitting around. Neither did I. I mean, of course I didn't if I'm 80,000 in debt. Yeah, I did not. But one of the things that you want to look at is there is different options. First of all, if you have money, let's say you've been a great saver and you've got the money in a savings account, or you have somebody in the family that has, grandma has a lot of money and she wouldn't mind investing in you. That's like one option. If that is an option, if you're taking it out of your own savings or you're going to borrow it from somebody in the family, I would still set up a payment plan back. You want to set up a payment plan back to yourself or grandma, unless it is a total gift. And if it is, I want to be part of your family. Okay, so that's one thing that you want to look at. Also, just always remember, because a lot of times people will say, well, I don't want to be, I don't want to be that much in debt. This is an asset. Because I want you to think about it. If you have your stuff, even if you have money in a great plan, probably at the highest, you're making maybe 4 or 5% interest. I want you to think about, you're going to buy for $1 and you're going to sell it for $2. You're making 50% profit. And with all the bonuses, honestly, you're making more than 50% profit. But that's what's awesome. That's what's available to you. So that's one thing you want to look at. Capital is not a debt. It is an asset to you. So just this is where you really do have to realize this is a business decision. Pennies doesn't say, oh my gosh, we're so deep in debt because we've got all this stuff on the shelves. We need to not have all that. No, they need that to make money. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like a good thing. All righty. There is a Mary Kay credit card. It is not an easy card to get. I'm just going to tell you right away. It does mean that you have to have good credit. Now, you can have somebody else do the application for you, a family member, a friend, if you have that type of situation. Like if you know you don't have good credit, I would have like your boyfriend do one or your husband, and they can do it only in their name. That's fine too. But it is a MK Visa and it's on MK Connections. Please, if you're in my unit, tell me you're going to apply for it because I have tips. And I know most of my directors do too. So we have tips that'll help you get a better score and everything. So, but what's good about that credit card is it is 0 interest for an entire year, which is awesome. And then that 3% cash back on any products bought. So then you're getting 3% back on your own product, things. So that's huge. And so that's great as well. So those are some things that you want to think about as well. Credit Karma can help you to build credit, and it'll also tell you what credit cards are available to you right now. So let's say if you don't have good credit and nobody will fill out the application for you, Credit Karma might be a good smart thing to look into. Cards you already have. And I know this sounds crazy, but would I do this? I would. If I had this situation, let's say I had 5 credit cards and I have 400 on this one, 300 on this one, and 200 on this one, and 1,000 on that one, I would do a combo, and we can do that for you. So that's also an option for you. And sometimes you can call the credit card company and ask them to raise your credit limit. So that's something else too. You can go to the bank for a personal loan. It is not an easy thing to do as well. You want to go in with your business plan, and your director, or if I'm your director, I can help you with that. Going into the bank, kind of showing them what you're doing and all that, and plus talking about the 90% buyback. So that's an option for you as well. If worst case scenario, none of this is going to work for you, then what you want to do is, what do you have at your house, or what does your mom have or grandma have that they don't care about anymore? It's been sitting there. Treadmills. I always remember I had a treadmill in my bedroom for a very long time. It was a great hanging place, like for clothes, for all kinds of things, hung on that treadmill. And sadly, I didn't use the treadmill. But that's something you can do too, is look for something that you can flip up on buy, sell, trade, or marketplace, or different things like that. Get some cash fast. if something's sitting there making you no money and you can make 50% off of, this product, is it smart for you to do that? Yeah, it's smart for you to do that. So I would look into that right away. But one thing I have found is if somebody really wants to, they can find a way. It's just kind of that tenacity that all of us women have, and it is a choice. So I would use that to your benefit. But definitely, if I'm just telling you from my heart, is that inventory can never hurt you. It can only help you. So I would start as far up as I could, just because those bonuses are only on the first order. So that first order is critical. And you pay the same in shipping, like if you order 3,000 or if you order 225, you're going to pay the same shipping. So I would definitely look at that as well. So you always want to think about that too, is if you're always having to order each time somebody places an order with you, you're paying shipping cost. So that I always look at that because it saves you a ton of money if you get, everything at once. It helps you tremendously and everything. But only on that first order do you get all those bonuses available to you. So the first order is important. So that's what I would look at. There's lots of decisions to be made. I would get started though. Don't kind of just say, oh, well, it's not for me. I can't do any of that. So I'm just going to let my showcase sit there. Talk to your director, get some different options going. It is so worth it. This business can be such a blessing. So make a decision, make it quickly, and move on it. Call your director, tell them where you're thinking, tell them, hey, I got my list made, and this is how many people I have on it. I took my little quiz, and this is what it said. So that way you guys are kind of partners, because the better you do, the better your director does. Or if you're in my unit, the better I do, the better you do. So I'm invested in you. And so I want to help you. So that's what's cool too. So, all righty, I'm going to let you go. And congratulations on making such a great decision. And I know that you're going to be so happy. So make a decision now on your second decision.